Denver Broncos. Now, this is a team where the arrow is pointing up. Man, their win total is much higher than people anticipate. And guess what Sean Payton did in the draft? They went and grabbed a two-sport athlete, a kid named Caleb Lohner out of Utah with their 7th-round pick. This kid played 5 seasons of college basketball, okay? And Sean Payton famously drafted Jimmy Graham, turned him into an all-pro tight end in New Orleans. And here's Payton talking about how Lohner could provide a similar impact.
If it turns out like the last one did, then we'd be real excited. And you go all the way back really in our league historically, you know, Gates was signed, I believe, undrafted. And so it's kind of one of those things where the body types for tight end, it's not like they're making less of them. They may be playing volleyball, they may be playing basketball, but it's projecting.
Yeah, I've said this before. The one position that's really changed to me, when I was in the 70s and 80s, I mean, tight ends, it was unique if you were Kellen Winslow and could beat somebody down the field. It was blockers. There was Dave Casper, the Raiders, or maybe a Kellen Winslow. You have these 6'5.5", 248-pound athletes now that can run a 4.49 or a 4.52, and I think tight end is the one position in this sport that doesn't look like it used to look 30 years ago at all. I mean, running backs were always shifty and tough. Cornerbacks were always twitchy and athletic, and receivers have always had good hands and they're fluid. Tight ends now are often, I mean, there just wasn't a lot of Travis Kelce's, and now there's multiple guys like that. So I don't have a problem with a pick. I mean, I remember watching Antonio Gates as a rookie, and I liked the draft, and I'm like, he played like Wayne State or something, basketball, and I'm like, how did everybody, you could tell literally his rookie year, you're like, smart GM move where he was just a rookie year, you're like, how did everybody miss on him? And it was a smart GM move where he was just a great athlete. So I don't have a problem with it.
Yeah, so Colin, I'm on record. This Denver roster is really freaking good. I mean, I love everything about their defense. Just remember last year, Riley Moss and Surtain, when they were bookend cornerbacks, they were awesome late in the season. I know the Bengals obviously lit them up in the final game, but I'm just telling you, this secondary, adding Barron, they're going to be really good. This is a sneaky team, not to just get into the playoffs, but to make some noise. I do have some questions about the running back room. McLaughlin, Harvey. I don't know about that, but I trust Sean Payton, and you were right on this team last year, so put me down for Broncos in the playoffs.
Okay. This isn't sneaky, and saying Broncos in the playoffs is not a very bold claim, especially considering they were in the playoffs last year. But I'm not here to get after J-Mac. Yeah, it is just funny because there was nothing sneaky about this Broncos team. They're a legit team. They have a legit roster. They have a legit offense and defense. They drafted well. They have a legit head coach and a legit quarterback. That's a lot of legits. Some would say it's too legit. But no, Sean Payton, this is what's so great when you have an experienced coach. We talk a lot about this on here, about the different degrees of confidence and experience that different coaches can bring to a team and the different skill set that they're confident with, and that you can be an amazing coach, a great coach. You can be, one of the best coaches to ever do it, but be really bad at finding where a really athletic person fits on a roster or something when he doesn't fit, a defined position or something. Or you could be an amazing coach and not good at developing talent, that you're just great at once the talent's there, you know exactly what to do, et cetera, et cetera. There's so many different variations, of what can make a coach great. But something that Sean Payton obviously has a lot of confidence and trust in himself, and obviously a great track record, is seeing players that have a lot of tools and a lot of skill sets and knowing how to work with that, knowing how to maximize that, knowing how to be creative with that. And again, not all coaches are like that. Not all people have that skill set. It does take a special coach. I've talked about this a lot recently, actually, that when you have so many tools in the toolbox, a lot of coaches actually kind of struggle with that. They really need things to be a little bit more narrow, or they can't really see the full vision, which is why I said this before. Also, most recently, we talked about this with Travis Hunter, is that the guy can do so much that you need a great coach to be able to figure out, how do I make this work? and it's almost counterintuitive because you would think, oh, someone who's so amazing and so gifted and has so many tools, it's so easy to work with. Like, not always. Not always can they help overcome a lot of the issues and push things under the rug, like, for sure. But in terms of truly maximizing, when you can do so many different things and you have such degrees of athleticism, you need a coach to be able to know, when do I let you loose? When do I put a frame and parameters around what you can do? When do I let you know, hey, I know you can do this. It's unhelpful in this situation. I need to pull you back in here, and so you can, if you read between the lines, right? Drafting a two-sport athlete, a lot to work with, right? Like, that's when the wheels are spinning for Sean Payton. That's when he's thinking outside of the box. That's when he's thinking beyond just a, prototypical athlete here. And so, yeah, I mean, it's again, I'm not going to act like this is like, I'm trying not to act like any of these draft picks are like, for any team, quite frankly, are like earth-shattering, groundbreaking, picks. Like, I still struggle with discussing the NFL draft because I am such a wait and see type of person, but I'm also a very optimistic person. And, I said this also in a previous video. I think when I was talking about the Las Vegas Raiders, actually, it's like, you can paint every single draft as a home run, slam dunk, or awful disaster. What were you thinking? But I love what the Broncos did. I love the confidence in which they're drafting and how they're approaching it and how they understand. And Sean Payton definitely understands this. That this is, you take a couple steps each year, right? Like, this isn't like a sprint, right? It's not a sprint, it's a marathon, right? And like, it's true though, right? Like, you have teams that sometimes they go so above and beyond, and they try to go all in to like win right now, and they really do themselves a disservice. You can make the argument that that's kind of what went wrong with CJ Stroud and the Texans, that they overlooked some issues. They tried to be like, oh, let's try to double down right now. CJ Stroud had an amazing year, and it wasn't even necessarily the wrong move. And unfortunately, they had injuries, so we don't really know how that, could have gone. But it's still slow and steady. They went out and got some seasoned veterans on defense. They already have that kind of foundation. Then they went out in free agency. They got some more veterans on offense. They drafted in a well-rounded way. I understand about the concerns about the running back room. I think that's, a fair question mark, because that was such a major liability for them, last season. And I talked about that extensively. Like, you're having too many moments where Bo Nix is the main leading rusher, and it's just it's great because it makes Bo Nix look awesome, and you can appreciate it and respect it and say he's a beast. It's hard to truly win the games that matter most with that, right? Again, just look at Josh Allen. Heck, look at even Lamar Jackson. And so you want to see that get more well-rounded for sure. And I think it will, because I think that's the beauty of Sean Payton. He understands that. He understands I can't just rely on Bo Nix to be, the workhorse from a rushing perspective. That's not sustainable. That does not lead to consistent high level wins. Is it a great get out of jail free card? Is it great that your quarterback can do that? Undeniably. Is that conducive to winning a Super Bowl 2 or 3? No, it's not. It's just not. So he understands that. He's not just saying, oh, it's whatever, we got Bo Nix, we'll find a way through. Very much like the Buffalo Bills have done for years with Josh Allen. So I expect this team to continue to evolve and grow. And honestly, like, as unsatisfying as it can sometimes sound, to not rush the process. To understand your year 2 with your quarterback. You have a great roster. You're growing, you're evolving, you're expecting your quarterback to take a big step forward. You're still really trying to boost this defense to make it, because in this division, defense is really going to carry the way here. Honestly, I really think it's defense and run game, honestly, for this division. That's, this has been especially the pattern for the last couple of seasons, and I think it will only continue with the way how all of these other teams are constructed. But what's interesting here is listen to what J-Mac has to say. He was talking about the Kansas City Chiefs leading into this clip, but since this is also a Broncos video, think Broncos fans will find a little bit interesting.
I'm lukewarm on the Chiefs. I know Nick's watching and going to freak out and take shots at me. That's fine. I'm just telling you, keep an eye on the Chiefs as like a 9-win team struggle to get in the playoffs. I'm on record. Final.
Yeah, there you have it. Chiefs, 9-win team, struggling to get into the playoffs. Denver Broncos, a sneaky playoff team, I guess, and to make some noise in the playoffs, what J-Mac said. Yeah. Listen, I'm not saying that the Chiefs are going to struggle or that they're going to be a 9-win team. I think the Chiefs will always be a competitive, tough, gritty team. You could be the biggest Broncos fan under the sun. You could be excited. You could believe that your team has finally turned the corner, that the future is yours. Like, all that can be true. You can't sleep on the Kansas City Chiefs. As long as Andy Reid is there, Patrick Mahomes, Spags, like that trio alone, they're always going to be tough. They might not be as dominant as they've been in years past. I mean, who knows how their team and their years evolve. But I still think, though, it's a pretty cool place to be. And you see a ton of pushback from Chiefs fans, because they're uncomfortable with the idea that the Chargers are getting better, that the Broncos are getting better, that the Raiders are getting better. And, the Chiefs had a gravy train for years and years and years. They just had a revolving door of quarterbacks and coaches, and there was just no stability in this division for any of the other teams outside of Kansas City. All the other teams were a mess. Broncos know that full well. They had the front row seat into it being a mess, right? Now you see what stability does. And I think it's great for the NFL to have this all happen, to have this division come head on. And I just, this is the exact feeling that I had with the NFC North last season. And those games did not disappoint. All came down to the final game of the season, the Lions versus Vikings. Obviously, that game was a little weird and kind of, the Lions ran away with it in the end. But like, the games just mattered, man. They just mattered. There was such intensity, such excitement. Even a bootleg Thanksgiving game with the Lions versus the Bears, where there was still stakes involved. And that's just what we're going to have, man, with these Broncos game. And like last year watching the Broncos games, it was so much about evaluating Bo Nix. I was definitely looking at it through the lens of evaluating Bo Nix and obviously evaluating the team as well and seeing what they can do. And I was definitely very optimistic. Them getting into the playoffs, and it was a hard draw to get the Buffalo Bills first round. No one can deny that. But then obviously Bo Nix in that first drive, beautiful throw, touchdown, and you're like, all right, here we go. And that game could have been, I think, either tied or had the lead. I think it was like a missed field goal or a drop pass going in, right before going into the second half. I forget exactly how it exactly unfolded, but there were such moments there where you're you're right there. And now I feel as though the Broncos are there. As long as there's not a weird step back from Bo Nix or just kind of you're watching games and you're like, Bo still doesn't feel settled, or you'd like to see him, not make that mistake in year 2. And again, he's still going to have his ups and downs, make no mistake about it. He's a second-year player, not an eighth-year player. So it's not going to be perfect, but if Bo Nix can just really take a step forward and really solidify himself as yeah, I had a great rookie year. I understand I didn't light the league on fire. People weren't talking about me being the greatest quarterback under the sun. And will I one day be the GOAT? Yeah, I get it. Everybody was super high on Jaden. Rightfully so, because he played awesome. But I'm here. I'm a real quarterback. I'm a legitimate top starting quarterback in the NFL. Again, yes, you can't say that I'm with Josh Allen, Lamar, and Patrick Mahomes. But don't act like I'm hanging on by a thread. And you know what? One day, you will name me when you're saying, who are the top 10 quarterbacks? Yeah, you're not going to be fighting whether or not I am top 10. You're going to be fighting, where am I between 1 through 10? You're not going to be like, he's actually technically a, 15. So Bo Nix can solidify that and let everyone know this Broncos team becomes elite, actually. I mean, it becomes special. It becomes a team that you're not just giving lip service, where you're just Denver Broncos are pretty good. You're like, no, this is the Denver Broncos. No, this is You know, it's going to be a tough playoff game, man. I don't know. Home field advantage. Yeah, man. If it's in Denver, like, you know, that's an advantage. You know, like it's a real game. It's not like, oh yeah, Denver Broncos. Yeah, the so-and-so should beat them. Like, no, it's a game. And that's, you know, year 2 in the Bo Nix, Sean Payton experience. Again, man, that's all you can ask for at this point. Seriously, that's all you can ask for. And if you're getting it, you got to thank. But those are just my thoughts. I'd absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think about Bo Nix, Sean Payton, the draft for the Denver Broncos? Let me know in the comments below. I read every single comment. So whether you agree with me or disagree with me, either way, let's get in some discussions. Let's get in some fights. But ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We're building an amazing community here, and I absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to. Something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're on our way to doing it. Please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much. See you next time.